Welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever managed a project, you know that just having a hammer doesn't work when you really need a wrench. Today, we're going to expand your project management toolkit, moving beyond just one single method to create a whole recipe book for success.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the classic toolkit, the stuff most of us know. Then, we'll dig into why those super rigid plans sometimes, well, they fall apart. From there, we'll introduce a really powerful tool called Scrum, and then we'll get to the fun part, how you can mix and match everything to build your own perfect project recipe.
All right, first things first. Let's ground ourselves in the familiar world of traditional project management. This is the foundation, right? It's all about planning, control, and having a clear path from start to finish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this looks familiar to a lot of you. This is a Gantt chart, and it's basically the poster child for a plan-driven project. Every single task, every dependency, all mapped out in a perfect straight line. You know what's happening and when.
And this whole approach is built for the classic definition of a project. The key words here are temporary and unique. There's a definite starting line and a clear finish line. The entire game is just about executing the plan to get from point A to point B.
And this visual really nails the core challenge of traditional PM. It's called the triple constraint. Think of it like a balancing act. You've got your scope, that's what you're building. You've got your cost, the budget, and you've got your schedule, your timeline. The project manager's job is to keep all three of those in perfect balance, because if you mess with one, the others are going to feel it.
Okay, but what happens when that perfect, beautifully balanced plan runs smack into the real world? Let's talk about the limits of being too rigid.
And here's where it gets tricky, right? Not every project is that straightforward. What do you do when the work is super complex? Or your customer gives you feedback that totally changes what they want? Or what if the finish line itself just keeps moving? All of a sudden, that perfect plan feels less like a helpful map and a lot more like a straitjacket.
And the data really backs us up. A shocking number of projects just fail. We're talking 24% that are either canceled before they even get done, or they're delivered and then just never get used. Just think about that for a second. That's almost a quarter of all that time, money, and energy just gone.
So why does this happen so often? Well, as this quote kind of points out, a lot of teams just jump in and do it. They don't have a process that's actually built to handle uncertainty. And it's that lack of an adaptable framework that causes so many projects to go completely off the rails.
This is exactly why we need something different in our toolkit. We need a tool that doesn't just put up with change, but actually embraces it. And that, my friends, is where Scrum comes in.
The name Scrum is actually pretty cool. It comes from the sport of rugby. A scrum is how you restart the game after a stoppage. And that's the whole idea here. Instead of trying to plan the entire 80-minute game from the get-go, you play in short bursts, see what happens, huddle up, and then go again.
The engine that makes Scrum go is called a sprint. It's basically a mini project that only lasts for 2 to 4 weeks. In that short window, the team plans, builds, and actually demonstrates a small working piece of the final product. This creates this awesome rapid feedback loop where you build a little, you learn a lot, and you adjust your plan for the next sprint.
So how does this actually work in practice? It might sound a little chaotic, but it's actually a very disciplined system. It all comes down to 3 things: really clear roles, specific rituals, and a predictable rhythm.
First off, instead of one single project manager calling all the shots, Scrum splits the responsibility into these 3 key roles. You've got the product owner, who's the voice of the customer and decides what gets built. Then you have the Scrum Master, who is less of a manager and more of a coach, making sure the team has what it needs. And finally, you have the development team, the experts who actually build the thing.
And these roles all work together in this constant cycle of activities, or ceremonies, you see here. They have meetings to plan the sprint, quick daily check-ins to stay in sync, and sessions at the end to review the work and improve their process. It's all designed to keep that feedback loop tight and communication flowing.
Now, Scrum is an amazing tool, but it's not the only Agile approach. Another really popular one is called Kanban. The big difference? Scrum is all about those fixed-length sprints, those cycles. Kanban, on the other hand, is all about continuous flow. Think of it like a river. Work just keeps moving. You pull a new task whenever you have capacity. This makes it a great fit for teams like IT support or content creation, where new tasks are always popping up. So we've got our traditional plans, we've got Scrum, we've got Kanban. The million-dollar question is, how on earth do you choose the right tool for the job? Because it's not about which one is best, it's about which one is the best fit.
Well, here's a really helpful way to think about it.
It's called the 5Cs framework. You can think of it like a diagnostic tool that helps you understand the unique personality of your project.
So these are the 5 dials you need to check. First, complexity. Is the work straightforward or a tangled mess? Criticality. What are the stakes if you get it wrong? Compliance. Are there heavy regulations you have to follow? Culture. How does your team like to work? And finally, compassion. What's going on in the world or with your team that you need to be aware of?
And when you think through those Cs, the choice becomes a lot clearer. Look, if you're building a bridge, you have one shot to get it right, the plans are fixed, and compliance is everything. That's a job for traditional project management. But if you're creating a brand new app, the complexity is high, you expect requirements to change, and you need to learn from your users. That is a perfect fit for an Agile approach like Scrum.
Okay, let's bring this all home. What does all this mean for you as a modern project manager? Here's the main takeaway. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. The best project managers are not just Scrum masters or waterfall experts. They're more like a master craftsman with a full toolkit. They know when to use the hammer, when to use the saw, and when to use the power drill.
And this is where it gets really powerful. Your goal is to become a chef, not just a line cook following someone else's recipe. You can blend these approaches. Maybe you use a detailed upfront plan for one phase of your project, but you use Agile sprints for another. You create a hybrid, a custom recipe that is perfectly suited for the unique needs of your work.
So as we finish up, I want you to think about that. Think about the work that's on your plate right now. What's its complexity? What's its culture? Based on everything we've talked about, what ingredients are you going to put into your next project management recipe?